All right, it's 7 o'clock and the board is reconvening to open session. Please call the roll, Evelyn.
Here.
Trustee Lee,
Here.
Trustee King. Here. Vice President Marcus. Here. President Weekly.
Present. All right. During closed session, the board consulted with the district regarding union negotiations with the Redwood City School District Teachers Association. Information was received and no decision was made. Also during closed session, the board consulted with the district's legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. No decision was made. All right. Welcome, everybody. Bienvenidos a todos, and welcome to the public session for the May 27th, 2026 meeting of the Redwood City School Board. Our interpreter will now give instructions for how to access translation.
Buenas tardes. Si necesita interpretación esta noche en español, por favor llame al número gratuito 978-990-5137 y presione el código de acceso 837-7041. Si está presente esta noche, puede obtener audífonos y un receptor en la parte posterior de la sala. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Just so all participants are aware, at the direction of the board, this meeting is being recorded and will be shared with the public. We generally try to post our meeting videos on YouTube about a day or two after. Tonight, we'll be hearing about our math curriculum, Imagine Mathematics, and I'm excited because while we often kick things off, this is a great example of doing a retrospective to see what worked and what didn't and how this should inform our approach. We also have another swath of policies under consent. I think at this point, we're most of the way through our 200 plus policy amendments to bring us fully up to date with the California School Board Association recommendations. We're also going to hire some guy named Rick Edson, it seems. The board has 2 employment contracts it approves by board action, our superintendent and our CBO, just so folks know. The board encourages all members of the public to participate and provide comment on issues of concern regardless of whether or not they're on the agenda. If you're here in person, please fill out a speaker card there in the back. You don't have to give your legal name, but if you'd like for us to follow up with you, please consider adding contact information. If you're online with Zoom, you can just raise your hand and we will call on you based on your Zoom name. If you're speaking on a topic that's on the agenda, you'll be called at the time the item is being considered. If it's not on the agenda, we will call on you in the public comment portion near the beginning of our meeting. To be fair to all speakers, comment is limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise noted. You'll see a countdown clock at the front of the podium. As a reminder, anytime a public comment is on an item not on the agenda, the board will be unable to take action or comment on the matter. And looks like maybe we do not have Pledge of Allegiance. We do. Oh, yes, excellent. We have an online student who will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Right?
Yeah, me. My name is Grishel Pacheco. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. That was wonderful. Okay. And now, any changes to the agenda? All right. Seeing none, can I have someone move to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. We'll now move on to public comment on items not on the agenda. Any speaker cards, either online or in person?
None online, none in.
All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. We'll now move on to union comment. We'll now hear from our union representatives if they'd like to share. Same 3-minute time limit will apply. Yeah.
Good evening, Maria Stockton.
Okay, Maria Stockton, chapter president of Redwood City Chapter 5. First off, I would like to apologize to the board. I took some bereavement leave and left out of state, came back not feeling well at all, and I did miss last Wednesday's retirement party, so I solely appreciate being invited to it, and I am so sorry I missed it. I appreciate it. A couple of things. We are doing the same thing we did last year in giving out $100 scholarships to 8th graders, one at each school that has an 8th grade. We have asked the principals to please give us a name and a small snippet of why they feel that student should receive this. This is above and beyond any other scholarship. So it doesn't have to be for the best improved or whatever. It has to be whatever they feel that child has done at that school. There are 2 schools that are missing. The deadline has passed, but we're holding it out for those 2 schools because we want this money to be spent by students who really have earned this. So I've asked Wendy to help me to assist those principals in helping us. Last week was Classified School Employee Week. You're classified, we talk about custodians and everything. District office has classified employees here. They're all over the place. I just want to thank them again for all the services they do, no matter what it is. The school district can't run without their services. But we had a dinner in appreciation for them at Harry's Hofbrau. Every member was invited to come and bring a guest of theirs, choose whatever they wanted on the menu, and sit down and socialize. I want to give a special thank you to Jennifer. My goodness, she showed up. I didn't know it was your mother's birthday, I guess it was. But she came and she stayed for the longest time, and people loved her. And also, we had a visit from the new superintendent. And I apologize, I haven't learned to roll it off my lips like everybody else. Rubo Kaba, he came and he did not feel rushed at all. Everybody felt so relaxed. He spent time with our people, talking with them. So they really, really appreciated that. So we want to thank you both, Mike and Cecilia. I think you're the only 2 we haven't invited yet to a function, so it's planned that we'll be having you come. I want to say to John, congratulations on your retirement. Haha, here we go together. We both get to have a breather and everything. So congratulations on that. And again, thank you very much for everything.
Thank you. That was lovely. Do we have I'm not seeing any representatives from the teachers union. So with that, I think we're going to move past union comment. We're now going to approve our bond consent items. As a reminder for members of the public, consent items are the ones where we approve a group of items in one go that are considered unlikely to be objectionable or need discussion. There are some minor expenditures in here around air conditioning and solar upgrades.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we have our bond program items that require discussion, but there aren't any tonight. We have one item to discuss tonight, an update on our math curriculum, Imagine Mathematics. Let's imagine some math.
Awesome. All right, good evening, Dr. Baker, President Weekly, and other members of the board. My name is Kendall Klein. I am one of the RCSD teachers on special assignment, specifically for staff development and for middle school mathematics.
And I'm Anastasia Stamatis, also Math TOSA for K-5, a member of the staff development team. We have a 3rd member, Nicole Crawford, also halftime staff development team member, and she was unable to be here tonight.
So thank you for having us tonight. We are here to give an update on our curriculum implementation. Next slide. Yeah. Right.
This is a look at one of or 2 of our classrooms, a 1st and a 6th grade mathematics class. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Where collaborative problem solving and hands-on activities are a key component of the day-to-day instruction. Students are always at the center of the work we do and at the center of what we'll be sharing with you tonight.
There you go. So just a reminder, adoption is a beginning, but it's not a finish line. There's still a lot of work to do. And so in the past, we have presented the first 3 phases to the board, which led to the official adoption of Imagine IM. Tonight, we are going to share the work that has been done district-wide in phase 4 and some of the next steps. And so you can see that outlined up there. So this phase
supports high-quality implementation of the adopted materials to professional learning, ongoing reflection, and continuous improvement. It strengthens instructional coherence and sustainability so that the adopted program leads to lasting improvements in teaching practice and student understanding of mathematics.
And this excerpt is taken from the San Mateo County Office of Education, specifically the Adoption and Implementation Toolkit for Mathematics Instructional Materials. As we go through each element of the implementation and sustainability plan, you will notice that some items might repeat, highlighting the high leverage nature of that component and the impact it can have on our work as a district.
We have it.
Maybe, there we go. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. So here are the first two components: coherent multi-year professional learning plan aligned to adopted materials. 2, teachers developing deep understanding of how the curriculum embodies standards, progressions, and instructional shifts.
Since the first year of implementation for K-5, which was 2023, 2024, and for 6-8, which was this school year, teachers have been enrolled in professional learning around the new math curriculum. Much of it was facilitated by the curriculum providers, along with professional learning and support from the math TOSAs. We have been working to make sure that the PD offered response to the needs of the teachers, while also making sure that it speaks to the goals we have as a district for math education.
And so moving forward, we will continue to work with Imagine IM, as well as provide district professional learning. We will put even more of an emphasis on support at sites and to teams of teachers, as well as taking part in what is being offered at San Mateo County. Our focus has been and will be on supporting teachers and administrators with planning and delivering high-quality math instruction that aligns with the goals of the district, particularly our work with multilingual learners and our students with diverse abilities, using all the components provided to us in our curriculum and the expertise of our teachers. Math language routines. So some of the components that we'll highlight are math language routines, UDL strategies, warm-up routines, and instructional routines and assessments that are already currently embedded in our curriculum. So giving that a boost and a highlight. Did it go? There we go. I'm sorry, they're not numbered, so I'm a little lost. Site administrators. So number 3, site administrators equipped to recognize, support, and monitor high-quality implementation.
Our administrators are a critical component when building a cohesive program for sustainability at their site with their teachers. Their learning and understanding of the math curriculum and the California mathematics frameworks is essential to supporting the high quality math instruction that goes on in classrooms. So throughout phase 4, they have attended a variety of learning sessions to gain understanding of the curriculum and the lesson components in what it looks like in the classroom.
So our goal moving forward is to build administrator networks to strengthen and deepen shared knowledge of the instructional components and pedagogy that ensures equitable access to mathematics for all students. And so that's where we are going. Number 4, ongoing monitoring of implementation patterns across classrooms and sites, disaggregated by student group.
So in our first years with the new curriculum, the focus was on implementing all the lesson components, understanding the instructional routines, the pacing of units, and the progression of standards within the grade levels. Surveys, conversations, emails, and requests from teachers and principals gave us insight into the different needs of the staff while we were navigating implementation, and it drove our district professional learning.
And so while we continue to review and reflect, we are moving forward using daily, weekly, and unit data from the curriculum to focus on improving outcomes for student groups and grade levels. Number 5, structures for teacher learning and collaboration and for site administrator learning are in place to sustain equitable, high-quality instruction over time, including protection from initiative fatigue and premature replacement.
So a foundation for teacher learning and collaboration has been taking shape over the past year, the work that teachers do together to plan instruction. We have engaged in these sessions with teachers, with teams of teachers, and provided a space for middle school to intentionally collaborate around the new curriculum.
And so in the coming years, we would like to continue and expand those practices to reach a larger group of teachers and administrators to build the capacity and that network we were talking about. So thank you. We want to take a moment to honor the hard work that our teachers and administrators have done already to this point to implement the math curriculum, the new math frameworks, and create systems to support our RCSD students.
We find joy in this work. We're excited to do the math with everyone, engage in math learning with teachers and students. And we are happy that we could share our district's math story with you this evening. This is kind of the end of our presentation, but we welcome your questions.
Thank you so much. Fellow trustees.
Thank you again for the presentation. And again, thanks to those teachers that actually pilot the curriculum, right? They can see the fruit of their hard work while they did that. Obviously to all the TOSAs administrators and teachers. I could see from the slides presentation, the engagement of the students, the difference it makes. I really don't have any questions, as mainly just comments. And then I know that I had written down page 33, when you talk about the math application, highest usage by 8th graders. I forget why I wrote myself that note. So
Yeah, so do you have a question around that or just a comment? Yeah.
I don't remember what I wrote it. So pardon my I just wrote it down and I forget. I didn't ask a question. I didn't put a question mark. So I wasn't sure if it was just that I noticed the highest usage by the 8th graders. And, obviously that makes a difference. So again, no comments. No questions, just comments from me. And then I did want it just the last page with the thank you. I thought it was very creative of whether, I don't know if that came from a student or one of you.
No, we found a wonderful image.
Oh, okay. Because I thought, okay, well, I guess we're getting our students to think different, right? I don't know if you guys had asked somebody to do it, so. Yeah, and thank you for all the work that you do. Obviously, it makes a big difference when you guys are in the classrooms, again, with the support of the administrators and, the implementation from the teachers day in and day out. So thank you.
Thank you guys for the presentation. I just had one question when I was reviewing the deck, and you brought it up today about how some of the PD is focused on multi-language learners. And I know we've had multiple discussions about how IM math is a bit reading heavy. I didn't see any of the data for that group. I was wondering, what does that adoption look like? What does PD look like? Is it special for us as a district or?
So it started with if we go to.
No, one of the hidden ones, but the dashboard ones.
It was on, okay, sorry, my eyes are really.
Of that.
So was the question around, PD or the data around supporting?
A little of both. It sounds like we are having PD specifically about kind of how we can incorporate certain techniques, I would assume, or.
Well, our curriculum embeds mathematical language routines, which are out of Stanford. And so it's all regarding helping students make sense of the language and interacting with the language and communicating through language, through multiple iterations and practice and rough draft thinking and doing and speaking, and encouraging academic discourse and use of the language.
K-5 has had training devoted to it, to the multilingual learners. Given to us by illustrative mathematics at the time, so it was I think, and then we definitely, when I work with teachers, we revisit it because it's in every lesson. There are notes about how to address, like what you can do in a lesson to address the needs of multilingual learners, and then not just those. There's the mathematical language routines, but also all the instructional routines that the program provides lead to this structure. So that the after the students kind of understand what's happening when they do a warm up, they have that to rely on. And a lot of teachers have actually mentioned that, like now they know how to, like, we're going to answer questions or we're going to come up with our thinking or share with our partner. So it's vetted, and we have had training. We still need more though, because it's always an area to work on. And we have seen some improvement for our multilingual learners. It shows up on the dashboard.
On the accelerated growth part, that group specifically moved one or two over. But yeah, like I said, it is embedded. Yeah, the instructional routines, the mathematical language routines are there, written out. And with the sustainability plan, it is an ongoing process, right? Like we're all continually learning and engaging in the learning and practicing and going through the cycles of inquiry to continue to develop the practice.
Okay, that's great to hear. I must have just missed it in the slide. I'll take a look.
Oh, it's okay.
Thank you.
Really small.
It was on. It's from the California dashboard. It's the new
Slide 22.
Thank you. It's their new data display.
Got it.
And that is the one that connects to longitudinal years to show the level of acceleration or growth of student groups. And so, which is different from the one that's on 21, which is more of just like the timestamp of how our kids did from one year to another. This one is the amount of growth that has happened for our groups.
And we don't have 6 through 8 because we haven't had the data yet, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you also for the presentation. I think the deck was really helpful. I know we went quickly probably because of norms around board presentations, but all of it's really helpful. Good to understand kind of where we are and what things are happening. But I was a little curious to get your sense of we're in implementation. Like, what is your sense of how it's going, and like what are particular areas of strength, and what are the areas where we want to focus more on? And I know K5 is probably where we have the most data because it's further along, but curious.
Yes, but I would like to speak on behalf of our middle school team. Our old curriculum was very much in line already with a lot of the California framework and the pedagogy and the equitable math instruction. And so we've had some experience with that. So it does feel like kind of a natural transition, but with learning any new curriculum and the components, we know that is a multi-year progress. But in terms of strengths, just for the first year, they enjoy the curriculum, teachers and students. They love the slides that help progress the lessons. They do like the teacher notes. Having access to online assessments has been really helpful for data analysis, item analysis, error analysis.
So K5 was now this is our 3rd school year. It happened to be right when I started this job as well. So like big learning curves for me. And it was in K5 was a little different because the programs had that we'd been using before were different. They weren't quite up to the new pedagogy that the California math frameworks had adopted. So there's been some transition time there. And sometimes it does feel like, oh, are we using all the components of the program? I've been really heartened lately to see teachers like really come at it with a problem of practice. Like, I'm seeing this now in how the students are learning. I need to know, how can I improve? So I'm seeing those things happen. We're seeing a lot more use in doing online assessment in the upper grade, like 3-5, sorry, my upper grade, which is great because it helps us prepare for that kind of thinking on a computer. To me, is different than thinking on. So we're seeing a lot of positives that way. I definitely see like teachers are just more comfortable. They're starting to really understand the pace. They're getting more. In beginning years of implementation, often you find ourselves not teaching all the units. I'm seeing teachers who are completing the entire school year now, which is obviously the goal, but it can be a tough road. So I'm seeing that. And just now the questions, instead of the questions are, where do I find or how do I, it's like, okay, I'm noticing that my students need more help with this. Where do I go? What do I look at? And then I can support them that way. So I do feel really good about what's been going on. But there's, again, always, I always want more. In my classroom and now in this job.
I think that seems like the general path is implementation, like curriculum is decided, and then it's like learning the curriculum from the teacher side, then it's buy-in among the teachers, and then ultimately it's also actual outcomes by the students reflecting that. So what I'm hearing is a lot of the first 3 for sure we're seeing pretty good progress on there. And then I think on the slides that you didn't show, but are on the deck, I think we're also seeing pretty good stuff on the last one as well, which is great to hear. I want to make sure that I'm understanding what the data reflects, though.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions I asked was just the new dashboard growth reflector. That is kind of like looking at a cohort by cohort sort of model, or like maybe not cohort, but like we're looking the year total, like did these students grow, right? And that's different from I think the other pieces where it's looking at 2021 to 2022 to 20, because we could see variation just because we have a different group of students, right? So okay. So the growth data, the new one, conceptually seems really helpful. Like that's giving us better understanding, but we don't have student level access to that, right? Or anything other than the whole district, is that right? Or a whole school?
From the state, we have just the dashboard. We'd have to look at like individual students, and even because Kendall does keep longitudinal data, like she tracks like, so how does the 3rd grade go? She's done this for years and join in, but if that's what you mean, like longitudinal. So like we can kind of see sometimes how groups are growing or not growing at grade levels as they move through the grades, but those are imperfect as well
Yeah.
because
You're going to get like different students coming in different parts of the year,
Yeah.
leaving, et cetera. So yeah, that makes sense.
And-
It's not it's just limitations. That's what I want to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question I did have though was just on one of the data slides, slide number 19. Just look again, a lot of green, which is great to see. The one that just did catch my eye a little bit was the 5th grade
Yeah.
level 4, which isn't bad per se. It's just like it's pretty steady throughout. But I do notice that in the state and the SMCOE, it looks like there has been growth even along that top level 4. So I was curious if we have any takeaways on that.
One I would like to point out too, though, is we have for 5th grade, a big boost from bumping our level 1s out. And that is a huge step in moving into middle school, where we are taking what they've learned K through 5 and digging deep and pulling things together to get to algebra. So that's, to me, a very huge number to celebrate as well. But 5th grade, notoriously across the board, it like here statewide, it is a challenge. You will see the dip in 5th consistently. And so that is something we want to work on. And I think Anna has something she wants to say.
Just to reiterate, our 5th graders were our incoming kinder pandemic babies. So
Mhm.
they had their first year and online as kinders. So they missed a lot of that foundational skill, right? And so it is our class that we worry about across the district that we see. So this doesn't seem surprising to me, knowing that this is a class that really has been struggling since they're the class that has gotten intervention in reading year after year after year, right? So it's also one of our struggles, this 5th grade group in general across the district. So
In a triangle chart, this would be a horizontal stripe in the
Yeah.
cohort.
yeah, it's like the outlier of some of the things that we see, right? It is a group we continue. They have gotten a lot of intervention, but in reading, not necessarily in math, but a lot in reading. And so trying to get them up to reading to grade level has been a challenge. These kids have gotten a lot of intervention. But we also know that this has also been a math challenge because they were also 3rd graders when the new curriculum began. And so, not only did they have this, curriculum, but then they were, when you bring in a new curriculum, you don't always get the full year curriculum either. Right? As it goes, now they're in more steady. So there's a lot of challenges in that group, unfortunately.
For the SMCOE part, that's reflective of all the other districts in the county that also use IM, Imagine IM. This
no.
was
No,
okay.
so
This is just in general.
you can find this on it's public. It was more just to bring a comparison of our microcosm of RCSD and how it compares across the county, which is, we're going to have school districts that are very similar to ours and those that are not. And then to the state level, just to see trends of where we are and where the majority of our neighbors are. And just
Okay. That is helpful.
yeah.
Well, because now, okay, so we could read this chart in a couple of ways. One is like this curriculum and its implementation, like lots of good stuff, but it could also just be like also in general made a lot of progress across like pedagogy and teaching, and that's also contributing to it. And the other two comparisons are kind of helpful references, but they're not really apples to apples for a few different reasons.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And comparing other districts with our curriculum would be an interesting data point to see.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I don't know how many people have taken it up, but
They were the leaders with adopting.
There's a lot of other
IM.
districts that are
Following suit now.
Yeah.
That are,
Okay.
yeah, it's been nice.
love to be the leader.
Hopefully we get some recognition for our leadership. Mike?
Well, thank you.
we got it. So yes, any more questions?
I'll start by saying thank you, Kendall and Anastasia, and of course, Nicole is not here for, for your presentation tonight and also just your leadership and rolling out this curriculum, and also to our classroom teachers and all the staff that's involved in the implementation day to day. Rolling out a district-wide curriculum is not going to be an easy task for anything, and particularly, it's in tandem with a real focus on literacy and reading, and sort of that's all getting revamped as well. It just takes professional gymnastics that I'm kind of in awe of. So it's really impressive. I'm going to start by asking Cecilia's question that she didn't get to ask, but on that Frax page, maybe you could just say, hey, what the eighth graders are spending almost double the amount of time on it. Yeah, so maybe you can talk about what do you think are the contributing factors to that and what do you think the outcomes are from it?
So the eighth grade particularly. So we recognize, right, there are skills and practice and fluency that a lot of our students would benefit from. The programs are really geared for K-5, but we open it up, 3-5, sorry. And so we do have some middle school grades that have really carved out time. I support Hoover specifically. We carved out time to allow students to get that practice, that differentiated practice for the fluency. And so I think that really took hold to help support teachers with kids doing some independent practice and filling in some foundational skills to help them bridge that gap and be able to jump into the grade level. But I would say that's probably why grade 8, like they really saw the opportunity and leveraged the time to do it. And that can be hard. We have time constraints in middle school schedules and lower grade schedules. And so finding the time to do it, I applaud them for doing that.
Yeah, speaking of time constraints, I mean, time is finite, right? Unfortunately. How do you manage the profession? I mentioned before that we're doing a real focus on literacy. There's a whole bunch of effort on reteaching how, rethinking about how we teach literacy and reading. How do you balance the math PD with all the other PD that has to get in, find that time?
Can I just say?
Yes.
It's easier for her because middle school math, right? But so K-5 has definitely been a balance that we've been trying to strike. Some of the schools, they're using collaborative time and I come in, I usually get 1 out of 1 to 3 meetings, right? Like I come in for math once. And then with district PD, we had a lot in the beginning and now it's been more like I met with K2, like all K2 and we did some planning and went over units together and I'll get an opportunity. I think I want to work on fractions in August. And so we just do what we can, our best, because there's also science, right? We know science is now on the dashboard as well. So like there are so many things. And I just keep, me talking to people and
yeah, and I mean, particularly with IM and the change in the curriculum, I mean, the acquiring the literacy is so important. So
yes.
we know we have to carve time for that, but I feel like, we'd spend so much time focused on that it's actually really extra impressive to see the growth in math that's coming along with it. But that leads me to my last question was you had this interesting phrase, protection from initiative fatigue in your slides. Perhaps you could describe what does initiative fatigue look like and what does protection look like?
Right. So initiative fatigue is we have the new shiny thing and we want to have another new shiny thing and a new shiny thing. This is really focused, like with the work with the county, is everything that we're doing around math is going to revolve around our curriculum, right? So it's not the new shiny thing that might elevate our curriculum. Like our curriculum has all the things. It's how do we really shine the light on it and go deeper and refine, like inquiry, like it's, we are learning, teachers are learning, the students are learning, and every batch of kids you get is going to be different and unique and beautiful. And we are working on sharing best practices and what would work at that specific time for that specific group. And that is where the magic is. And so now that we have a curriculum that has the sound practice and all the bells and whistles, it's giving time to do that. Because when we look back at our the PD timeline, like we did a lot, and maybe we were just so excited, like spreading it out, like learning from that. And so just taking the time to go back and revisit those things and going forward. And I think we've been given that opportunity moving into next year. So really helping teachers get that time to, refine the practice of what we have.
Great. Yeah. I can sense your enthusiasm though, which is awesome. Like, it's really like, but it's across all 3 areas. It's across teaching, it's across the students, and then an enthusiasm for math. So it seems like a perfect fit. But yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I loved hearing about it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Some comments, some questions. I just love that we're doing this check-in to see what's working, what's not. And I can't wait for us to start getting some report outs, like maybe next year on how this is going in our middle schools. Like that'll be really exciting to see. I'm really particularly excited about this because mathematical fluency is a bedrock of learning. It's almost as important as literacy. Our selection of curriculum is important, but books alone don't provide an education. To your point, yeah, it's the teachers, it's the professional development we give them, and the teaching to fidelity that really drive results. When a change in curriculum represents a change in approach, and as has been noted by a number of folks, it takes a couple of years to really land and start showing meaningful and measurable improvements. And so that's a message that you should know has been delivered to the board, and we have heard. So one thing that I really like about this curriculum in particular is its embrace of metacognition. Instead of just receiving a lecture, students really have to struggle with the material and reason about it actively.
Productively struggle.
Productively struggle, yes. Not just uselessly struggle.
Not practice.
Yeah, it's the learning process, and so I think it's really, really cool that we're leaning towards that. Page 22, I thought was really the punchline. It was great to see the vast majority of our students improving their scores and driving above average growth. The next slide did have me a little puzzled because it seemed to show that we went from 70% progress in 2023 to 61%, and I think that's due to moving the testing date. Is that
most likely it's a two-month jump. And then on top of that, like for it being our first year in middle school teaching the curriculum, pacing, coverage of units at that time, much different. So, but even with the 2 months, we're not, it's not too bad. The guidelines for iReady mid-year is that bar for the annual progress would be 50%. And so each year we've exceeded that. And even though we took it 2 months earlier, still think it's a good showing.
Good showing. Excellent. Yes.
Next year it'll be
It'll be higher next year. Awesome. Fantastic. One thing I would be concerned about is highlighting the usage of the tools more than effectiveness. So for instance, on page 32 of the presentation, we can see it highlighted and celebrate that there's a lot of engagement from our second and third graders. We can also see that less than a quarter of them were highlighted as green light. And just I noted that Reflex's own research with the Moline Coal Valley School District in Illinois showed big gaps between low fidelity Reflex users who got green light on fewer than half their days and high fidelity ones who got more than green light in more than 50% of their days. So just I want to make sure that we're measuring and celebrating the right metrics here, and like maybe some of the things that we're looking at doing to get that percentage of green light days up.
We actually recently met with the company and went over this data that you have here, and they were just like, they told us some clues, like hints on how to get kids into the green light more. So we'll be passing those along to the staff.
Okay, great. It'll be wonderful to see the progress on that, because there was a big difference from that study. Just so my fellow trustees know as well, that only 9% of students in the low fidelity group were fully math fluent by the end of the year, but 63% who got green light more than 50% of the time ended up fully fluent by the end of the year. So it was a pretty big gap right there. Little bit of a maybe silly question, maybe straightforward question, but have we asked our students how well they feel they're learning math?
Good question.
We have not conducted empathy interviews with the students yet. I know through the ones that are being done with remote bilingual learners, a lot of students have reported. Actually, the teachers will come back and said the kids like math, but it would be neat to do an empathy survey with the student around math.
And some teachers do empathy surveys. We just haven't collected or made that a topic. That's a goal for us moving forward.
Sweet. Yeah, I think it was a surprise to me coming from, taking a look at the research that when you ask students, like, how well do you feel like you're learning this stuff? They actually do a pretty good job self-reporting. So,
They're honest folks.
Awesome. It's my understanding that you guys are doing some neat work on peer teaching for the students with a Stanford program called Peer Teach. Is that right?
Yeah, it was started. I forget. I wrote it down, but I'm already forgetting when. And it was just a startup company through Stanford. They've tried it. We have some teachers that are in year 3 doing it now. There are pluses and minuses and challenges and pros. It's a time constraint. They are learning some of the coachable tools that the students then can implement with each other in the peer tutoring. But it is not around our curriculum. It's through, it's more of like a support math curriculum. So they have the right questions, the type of questions. It's guiding them through peer teaching with each other through some analytics.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
You bet. John, would you like to make some comments?
So what a difference when it comes to where we were 3+ years ago. And when we adopted, and those of you members that were on the board at that time heard from principals and teachers that when they were doing their board reports, do not come up with other ideas.
Yes.
This is really difficult. The teachers are having a difficult time. The principals, I'm having a difficult time because it's a whole different way of teaching math. But we've come so far from that time, from that, what, 3 years ago when
Yeah.
they were coming before the board at that point. So to hear that, it's great. And the times that we've been in classrooms visiting, it seems in the elementary schools, the kids are really enjoying the math. They know exactly what to do. The teacher runs to her group, and everybody's left doing, the different projects that they have to work with. So what a difference compared to when we started. The other piece is the sharing of the best practices. That's wonderful. That's happening. So you can see a group that's struggling, but you have some information or best practices that the teacher could be using with that group. So I applaud you in doing that.
Well, and it's also coming from the teachers themselves. So
Which is great.
Which is great, right? In the middle school collaboration specifically, they would be with the grade level teams, look at student work and analysis, and talk about their problems of practice, and look at the lessons and the components and all the bells and whistles. And so we were very fortunate to have that. Again, I have a small batch of middle school teachers compared to the large number of K-5. And so it was a special time for them to meet.
Well, I think you're both the best people in these roles.
Thank you.
Continue on, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a lovely evening. All right. And we are on to consents. As has been typical for our last couple of meetings, we have an enormous number of items on our consent agenda, most of which are board policies, but some minutes and field trips and other pro forma items also. We have our STEAM and music instructors funded in here from Prop 28 funds. We're so grateful for you all. On the raft of policies, just as a reminder, we are working through a backlog of about 200 policies that need updating to be fully compliant. I think we're most of the way through them by now. So thermometer like half full. Yeah.
We have, we will enjoy these through June 17th.
Enjoy.
Back to our
savor.
regular rotation
Mm.
of updates.
Okay. All right. It's been a huge amount of work from the policy committee and staff, so shout out for you guys. At some point, maybe we'll have some thermometer, right? That we can just like, we can fill up here. Thank you so much for that work. With all that said, somebody want to go and approve this massive set of consents?
I'll move to approve the consent items.
Thank you.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. And now on for items that the board has to take action, called unsurprisingly action items. Two of these have to do with our contract negotiations with our California School Employees Association classified union, which we generally perform every 3 years. So let's move on to 15.1, CSEA proposal.
Yes, we're really looking forward to starting our negotiations with CSEA. That is actually starting June 17th and 18th. Those are the 2 dates we have on the calendar for this school year. And so for this particular item, this is the CSEA proposal. For those that may not know, we are in a 3-year successor with both unions, actually. And so what that means is that the entire contract is up for negotiations. Every 3 years you do that. And then every year after, it's 2 articles plus compensation. So in this particular case, we are opening up the entire contract, and there's quite a few things that we'd like to refine and talk about. So this particular one is CSEA's proposal, and the following one is the district's initial proposal as well.
So one action to accept
Yes.
and another to ourselves propose.
Both are action items, actually, that we're accepting both.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, to that point.
All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions about our acceptance of CSEA's proposal? No? Would someone like to move that we accept this?
Yeah, I mean, there are part of our engines of the
Yeah.
school district. So I move that we approve or accept their proposal.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And onwards to the other side.
Any questions about this particular proposal?
None, seeing none, would someone like to move that we make a proposal to the CSEA?
I will move to approve.
All right. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very well. Okay. Onward to employment of this man, Mr. Edson.
Yes, onward to the employment of Mr. Edson. Before we get into a portion where I need to read something in regard to Government Ed Code 54953, I want to take the public through the process that Rick and I went through to come up with his new contract. I felt that Rick is deserving of another contract with the Redwood City School District. He's done an outstanding job over the past few years that he's been with us, and wanting to move this forward. We looked at comparable districts, made a comparison of where we are with a CBO salary and benefits and other pieces that come to one's contract in this official capacity. I looked at 3 districts within San Mateo County. We also looked at a 4th one, which our children feed into, but that was very, very expensive, so did not even go in that direction. As I have discussed with some of you in your individual meetings with me. So in doing so, with this new contract, he's still in the mid-level, and he's not at the top of that mid-level either. We negotiated several items on his contract. I brought it to you also, and we made some changes, and those changes are reflected in the contract tonight. So in moving forward, I need to read the following. Before the board takes final action, and in accordance with Government Code Section 54953, the following is an oral summary on the compensation fringe benefit terms of the proposed employment agreement with Richard W. Edson II for the position of Chief Business Official. The agreement has a term ending June 30th, 2029. The annual salary is $275,024, payable in 12 equal monthly payments. The agreement provides health and welfare benefits equal to those provided to management employees, professional dues for CASBO and AXA, a $2,400 annual automobile allowance for travel within the district, reimbursement for necessary district-related expenses, and technology devices at district expense, if provided by the district. The agreement also provides for vacation, sick leave, evaluation, termination, severance, and repayment as set forth in the written agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any at this point in time.
Fellow trustees?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do want to say that Rick's been a really tremendous asset to the Redwood City School District. Managing $150 million general fund budget plus, large bond programs, everything else. It really takes a specialized skill set. And as you pointed out, like the contract here is kind of in line with comparable with districts in the area, so that's good. I kind of expect that, Rick will continue in this role, and continue to find like creative and aggressive ways to really keep equity first, for funding our highest need schools, for the staff that's there, to fully fund our community centers, whether it's through grants or whatever we have to do to be able to continue to fund that, to really have systemic advocacy for really our most vulnerable students and our frontline staff, particularly as we are opening negotiations and in the midst of negotiations, thinking about that, and everyone who's supporting those students, and that's kind of what I expect from the CBO. I think you have the skill set to do it. So yeah, I'm enthusiastically support this contract.
With that, make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Congratulations on your employment, Mr. Edson. I'll admit some curiosity as to what the W stands for, but we'll attend to that later. Okay, and we're on to board and superintendent reports. Who'd like to go first?
A couple of us attended the Expanded Learning Showcase and Kent Award celebration at Hoover, which was super, super nice. They had sort of transformed that into a banquet, which with all these tables really nicely put out. And it was really a celebration of obviously the students, but the partners were getting recognized that night, and the staff at the district that supports them. So that was a lot of fun. We went to, Maria had mentioned it, the retirement ceremony. I'm sorry you weren't there, Maria. I was looking around for you and wondering like, what happened here. But yeah, so that was really nice over at CZI. A nice way to see, including our superintendent, many of these longtime staff members off. So that was nice to celebrate them. And then did another meet the new superintendent. This time was at Kennedy with Clifford, MIT, North Star, and Orion. I think this was our last one. And it followed a similar format. In the afternoon, the staff came and the Clifford staff really showed up. And then in the evening, the parents came. And actually, this had to be our most, this one was really heavily attended. Right? You were this. I think this one was the most popular of the three. Maybe the word's been getting out that these things are happening. So that was fun.
Got nothing else to add?
Okay. Jen?
I was at Orion this last week with Dr. R for the multicultural. Winnie toured us for the multicultural things and also just showed Dr. R the campus. Definitely bursting at the seams. And then, yeah, as Maria mentioned, I went to the dinner, which was really nice to meet kind of different part of the district, which is nice.
Sweet. Thank you. Cecilia.
Yeah. I attended the Redwood City Together Community All-Stars. That was really nice. I think there was like almost 200 students that participated, and it was a Saturday morning over at Flag Park, which is really nice. They're still doing a lot of the remodeling, but I attended DLAC with quite a few parents that showed up. This time around, there was actually couples. So I actually gave kudos to the men that were there because usually I say, it's only us ladies there. And so that was really nice. It was really great to hear from a McKinley parent that said she was very grateful for joining ELAC and she looks forward to attending more meetings next year. So that was great. We did tell them your homework is to bring 2 more parents next year. So that was really nice. Also attended the meet and greet over at Kennedy, their retirement, and then Redwood City Together with John and Jen. And then, of course, the expanded opportunity celebration, which again, it was beautiful. Like, I don't even know that I've ever been to an event from Redwood City as beautiful as it was, but more than just like the beauty of it in your eyes is like all the extracurricular and all the involvement that we have with our after school partners, which, I think it's wonderful for the Redwood City School District. So that's it.
Sweet. Thank you. Also at the retirement ceremony, that was wonderful. Also went to Orion to go and tour the multicultural celebrations in classrooms. It was amazing, just the level of detail in these classrooms. Like they would have different countries for each classroom. So like one would be like Uzbekistan and go like way deep into everything about Uzbekistan. And apparently Uzbekistan in particular caught the attention of like the consulate. So we had like a consular delegation from Uzbekistan come to check out what these American kids are learning about their country. It's like super, super cool. I just couldn't believe the depth that was in there. So that was pretty neat. Quick update on rcsd.info to honor the policy work that y'all have been doing. I added policies to rcsd.info. So now all of those are up there documented as part of the MCP server as well. So now you can ask your friendly neighborhood agent questions about the Redwood City School District policies. Cool. Correspondence. Have we received any? Oh, sorry, a superintendent report.
Many of the activities you went to, I also attended. With the exception, I wanted to say something about Redwood City Together. Dr. Rubalcaba was also with us there that day, so he could be introduced to the group as we move forward. Something about Redwood City Together also is that there's an executive portion of the group, and then there's a leadership portion. They are thinking now of instead of having 2 groups, to have one, because it's a lot of work for the executive director to hold both meetings and then bring them all together. So in working in that manner, during the next meeting that we're having, that's a retreat, is to put that strategic plan together to have it work in that fashion. And then there's also talk about the true committee members, which one of us, it's the Redwood City School District, it's Sequoia High School District, and then some other entities. Do they get one seat at the table or do they get two seats at the table? Us large entities pay extra dollars. We pay like, I think ours is 30,000. No, it went up to 30,000. That was kind of because, yeah, I rounded up because I am one of the superintendents that said that years ago when we were paying 10, this is ridiculous because we never going to get anything done. So there's a percentage east. I know you don't like that. I saw that smart. I'm kidding. But it was they never raised it over all these years. It kept to the same amount, and so each year it goes up a little more. But we have other entities in the city that believe that they should also have the same people at the table, but some of them are not paying hardly anything. So we're trying to make it more convenient in a manner that, yes, you will have leadership and you'll have the executive group, but at the same time, we're going to have to agree we'll have the same voting power, but the voices at the table could be more. And that's where there's a discrepancy at this point in time, because at the executive group, there are two members that are part of the leadership team. For example, it's Cecilia and Jennifer for the Redwood City group, and the Redwood City School District is an executive partner. So there's been that discrepancy. So they're working that out to move forward and also to allow the executive director some relief from the pressures from both entities, because as you heard at the meeting, that people want to have more to say, but they don't want to pay up either. That's the whole premise of this. And it is, it's with the less money that they're receiving as far as grants and so forth, and when you saw that bottom line that was in the red, it can't keep operating like it is. So that's going to be coming forward in the next school year with a different strategic plan if we all can get on board at that retreat to make it continue to be solvent. Because if not, they do a lot of, Redwood City Together does a wonderful job, but it can't do everything. And it was like when COVID hit, they worked very closely with Stanford and the Gardner Center to make sure that our families in the North Fair Oaks area had what was needed. And when Redwood City Together was created many, many 20 plus years ago, it was definitely for that Fair Oaks area, but it has expanded to when we had the issues with the kids on bikes that would run down, down town in Redwood City. They asked Redwood City Together to get involved with that with the police. And I said, okay, but at the same time, why is Redwood City Together the head honcho in that and not the police department? And so they took up a lot of the responsibility. And that's what seems to be going on right now, where they can't handle it all. And if they're going to handle it all, then more money needs to come in, because you have the ED, an assistant, there is promotoras, and then that one other person that they're possibly going to release because they may not have enough money. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So that will be coming up in June, well, right around the corner at the retreat, and then hopefully a report will come back to each of the school districts as to where we lie. And Christian will also be at that retreat.
Okay.
That was
All right.
just an update on that.
Got it. Thank you. Correspondence. Any notable correspondence folks want to report out? Nope. Okay. Other business. Anything else people want to raise that they've been noodling on that they want us to make sure we include in the board retreat, for instance? Nope. Okie doke. Reflection. How did today's meeting go? Feedback?
Just a comment more for myself and for future meetings. It was great that they cut the presentation so compactly,
Very
but I was also kind of expecting like more discussion on all the slides. So I will ask all my questions on the spreadsheet versus during the meeting, since it seems like we'll kind of focus more on the overall picture during the meetings.
I just want to make sure I've parsed that right. Do you feel like we could have and should have deliberated better on the math curriculum topic?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
I didn't realize how few of the slides would get actually
Got it.
presented versus like discussion or shown today, which is fine. I could easily ask and use the spreadsheet to ask questions.
When it became clear that it was going to be like a lighter agenda evening, like we maybe could have nudged them that they had more time. Dave? Oh, I'm just trying to figure out how to.
Think so. I think it was more just for me, like kind of taken aback at how compressed it ended up being today.
It was pretty quick.
Like when the thank you slide came up, I thought that was like a mistake.
Yeah.
But
That was very efficient.
yes. So I mean, I think it's fine. I know we're trying to get into this cadence, so it's just more of getting used to it. But also probably making sure people know that there is the deck attached to the agenda for the public and the community if they were expecting just to see it during this presentation.
Got it.
I was gonna say, actually, I liked how we did it, which is, I felt, and I think I did, just say like on whatever slide in the deck, which wasn't presented, but like I have questions on it, I want to clarify. I thought that was helpful for us to, because I don't think we need to go through all of the slides.
Yeah.
So it was a nice way to kind of speed things up. So maybe this is just a norm discussion of how we do. I would say though that in terms of like the questions document, I try to heed Evelyn's direction very closely, which is use it very much for clarifying questions and not necessarily things that I'm thinking about during the presentation, which should be publicly asked. So that's how I approach it, but I'll just put that out there.
And I think it's a nice reminder to remind the public that even if the presenter is only showing a few slides, if they're curious to know more, there may be a larger deck available to them as matter of public record attached to the agenda item. So I think that's a good nudge.
Yeah, I thought it was a good balance. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't realize it was going to end so short, but I thought it was a good balance. Like I thought it was focused on the parts that should be presented, and then the data was left for us to ask questions about. So yeah, I thought that went well. I'm pretty efficient meeting. So.
Cecilia?
Same thing. I mean, I did think it went really fast, but at the same time, it was so clear and there was so much like positive information that was giving to us. And thanks to Mike for asking my question, because I was like, I know I just wrote like 33 students each grader. And then I went back and I was like, oh, that's right. Because I was looking at like the 2,400 self-assessments. And so I think that's what it was. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
And by the way, on format, I really want to make sure that we're not just doing, trustee A speaks, then trustee B speaks, then trustee. So like if you've already said something, but then there's an important thing that comes to you, like feel free to go and tag back in, not like, oh, you already missed your chance to speak. So, but I thought that was also very well done, Mike. Yeah. Dr. Baker, do you have any feedback about today's meeting?
I just thought that they took what the board has been asking.
Right. They ran with it.
We ran with it.
Hats off.
And you can notice many times when we're board meetings, they are participants here listed in attendance. So they take to heart, and I think Anna probably said, remember what the board has said about presentations.
Well, please pass on our kudos for like military grade efficiency. Yeah. All right. Cool. Any other reflections? Is that it? Okay, good. Moving on, calendar. Do we got any changes here? Anything of note? Nope. All right, we just have a 6:15 closed session on June 10th. Okie doke. And I think that takes us through to adjournment.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. The motion carries.